Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel, UK Immigration News. We hope you're doing great. In this video, we're going to talk about anger as 17 pro-Palestine protesters arrested by South Wales police. Recent protests in Cardiff and Swansea have drawn international attention as demonstrators voiced outrage against the escalating conflict in Gaza tensions, peaked with several arrests, including that of a 12-year-old Palestinian girl and her mother, sparking widespread debate over police actions and the broader humanitarian crisis. If you're interested in this, so to get all the information, pay attention and watch the video through to the end. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. So without any further delay, let's jump into the video. At least 17 people, including a Palestinian girl aged only 12 and her mother, have been arrested in Cardiff and Swansea as police target. Those police target those protesting the ongoing genocide in Gaza being committed by Israel and the West. On Monday, an emergency protest was held in Cardiff to raise the alarm over the escalating military assault on the city of Rafah in Gaza, where hundreds sheltering in designated safe zones, including children, have been killed by Israel in the past week. Video released by Blom Cardiff on social media appears to show a group of around 8 police officers swooping in to arrest a man as he shouts, "Free! Free! Palestine" into a megaphone as they forcibly drag him away. Others immediately crowd around and demand the police release him. The arrest of the leading activist known as Nizo, who is also disabled, came as a sit-down protest on the junction of Park Place and Boulevard de Nantes, near Cardiff City Centre, drew to a close and people started to disperse. Immediately following the incident, over 100 supporters gathered at Cardiff Bay Police Station and demanded his release. According to a press release sent by Gweithred Palestina, a smaller group of supporters then sat down and occupied the reception of the police station, some with blankets, flasks, and camping chairs. One activist who was there told the Voice Wales that chants of "Free Nizo" now rang out from within the police station and that the mood was defiant. Just before midnight, police moved in and arrested the seated protesters one by one. Video footage shared on social media shows some being dragged out along the floor. Campaigners were also targeted in Swansea, according to the press release. In the early hours of Tuesday morning, police raided a house and arrested a 12-year-old Palestinian girl and her mother. Protesters in Cardiff had initially responded to a call for an emergency protest for Rafah by a coalition of groups including Palestinian Forum in Britain, Cardiff Stop the War, Black Lives Matter Cardiff and Vale, Stand Up for Palestine, and Simmer Students for Palestine, Last week, a refugee camp in southern Gaza was bombed by Israel, and according to BBC reports, over 50 people were killed, including at least 8 children. Speakers accused the UK government of complicity in the ongoing genocide. Also at the protest were students from the Cardiff University encampment, which was established 3 weeks ago. Students who have set up tents on the lawn of Cardiff University main building are calling for the university to disclose its ties to Israel, linked investments, divest from companies active in the genocide, and support Palestinian education programs and students. Similar encampments have been set up at Swansea, Bangor, and Aberystwyth universities, and have received support from university staff. Deal, a 20-year-old Palestinian who was born in Cardiff and who is foreign in Cardiff and who has family in the West Bank, was at Cardiff Bay Police Station when the arrests took place. "I was sitting on the floor with my arms linked to my friends in a line when the police made another line behind us and started kicking us forward. They said they were grabbing and pulling any part of us they could. Hair, arms, anything. It was painful. I was screaming at them, 'You're hurting us. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.' There was a mixed race guy with dreadlocks next to me, and they were much more violent with him, twisting him. I thought his arm was going to snap." Sophia, a 22-year-old student at Cardiff University said, "They grabbed my hair and ripped my earring out. I could see the racial profiling. I was in front of my friend who wears a hijab, and they were reaching around behind me to get at her. They pushed me to the ground behind me to get at her. They pushed me to the ground, pushed someone else on top of me, and arrested a Palestinian girl. She wasn't even with the other protesters. She was outside the police station." It is not the first time South Wales police have been accused of racism, with the case of the Cardiff Five in the late 80s and 90s. And more recently, the death of Mohammed Hassan in 2021. Cardiff Stop the War Coalition, one of the groups behind the protest yesterday, said in a statement, "We are now at a crisis and a crossroads in our democracy. The majority of the public, both in Britain and internationally, are for an immediate ceasefire. Yet we know whoever wins the election, both parties have greenlit what the International Court of Justice believes is a plausible case of genocide. People are feeling they have to escalate the action as Israel escalates its attacks on Rafah, the terrible atrocities, the bombing of refugees. That's why we came out here." Many members of the public will say, "What does this have to do with us?" But our government heavily arms Israel, and we know that if Western governments like the United States government, particularly, and its ally, the United Kingdom, took meaningful action such as sanctions and an arms embargo on Israel, we could stop the killing tomorrow as Israel's relentless bombing of civilians in Gaza continues into its 8th month. Cardiff has seen tens of thousands take to the streets in protest. Protests have been loud and occasionally disrupted traffic, but overwhelmingly peaceful and non-violent. However, the decision to arrest one of the figureheads of the movement has created a major escalation and will be seen as an affront against all those demanding an immediate ceasefire and an end to the unimaginable suffering of Palestinians. At least 36,439 Palestinians, mostly women and children, have been killed by the Israeli military in Gaza since October 7, with over 82,000 injured and thousands still missing, according to the Enclave's Ministry of Health over the weekend. Israel's forced starvation caused the deaths of 2 more children in central Gaza. After all, aid routes into the country have been blocked. A harrowing video on the Al Jazeera website shows in graphic detail this forced starvation and the decaying bodies of children who cannot eat due to the blockade. These are the horrors that activists are protesting against, a cause for which many are increasingly prepared to be arrested for. The protests in Cardiff and Swansea reflect a global outcry against the ongoing violence in Gaza, with demonstrators advocating for peace, justice, and humanitarian aid. The arrests have underscored deep-seated concerns over civil liberties and international policy, highlighting a pressing need for dialogue and action to address the humanitarian crisis in the region. That is all for today in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel UK Immigration News. We hope you are doing great. In this video, we are going to talk about anger as 17 pro-Palestine protesters arrested by South Wales police in recent events across Cardiff and Swansea. Tensions have escalated as protests erupted against the ongoing conflict in Gaza, with significant arrests drawing attention and controversy. The protests were ignited by the Israeli military's actions in Gaza, particularly in Rafah, where civilian casualties, including many children, have surged. Demonstrators, including prominent activists, gathered in Cardiff to voice their dissent, leading to several arrests by local police. The initial protest in Cardiff saw a dramatic arrest captured on video where police detained a vocal protester amidst cries for Palestinian liberation. Subsequent actions by supporters outside Cardiff Bay Police Station underscored mounting frustration and solidarity demands for the activists raised in Swansea. Further arrests included a 12-year-old Palestinian girl and her mother, highlighting the broadening impact of the conflict on communities far beyond the Middle East. The protests were organized by a coalition including Black Lives Matter, Cardiff, Palestinian Forum in Britain and other local groups, reflecting widespread international condemnation of Israel's military actions. The students from Cardiff University occupying the campus in tents called for institutional divestment from Israeli-linked investments and support for Palestinian education initiatives. Criticism extended to the UK government for perceived complicity in the conflict through arms sales to Israel, intensifying calls for sanctions and a ceasefire. The protests aimed to raise awareness of the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where casualties continue to mount amidst international calls for intervention. However, the protests were not without controversy, as reports surfaced of police using aggressive tactics during arrests, sparking accusations of racial profiling and excessive force. Witnesses described scenes of physical aggression, including hair pulling and injuries sustained during the arrests, which further fueled public outrage and debate. As tensions persist, the protests underscore a growing divide over international policy on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with demonstrators increasingly willing to face arrest in their pursuit of justice and humanitarian aid for Gaza. The incidents in Cardiff and Swansea have become focal points in a broader global movement against violence and oppression, challenging governments and institutions to reassess their roles and responsibilities in global conflicts. Thank you so much.